The Zelthari archivist was not prone to paranoia, but something about the data disturbed him. For cycles, he had monitored emergent species within the Galactic Accord, and no species had ever displayed the patterns the humans did. Most sapiens developed slowly, harmonizing with their environments, avoiding unnecessary risks, and valuing equilibrium over aggression. Not humans. The initial curiosity began as a side project. The archivist noticed that within 3 standard decades of humanity joining the Accord, they had settled more border worlds than any other species in recorded history. The humans called it pioneering, but the survival rates on these planets were catastrophically low by galactic standards. Still, the humans flourished, rebuilt, and then expanded further. Reports followed. Fleets decimated by pirates were found intact days later with human insignias. Colonies that should have failed due to planetary toxicity adapted by altering agricultural techniques faster than the planetary seasons could shift. When a species from the core world attempted to enslave a remote Terran outpost, they were overwhelmed within a week. Not by ships, not by weapons, by humans using the planet's indigenous megafauna as siege engines. The archivist requested detailed combat reports, psychological assessments, and biological data. What he received disturbed him. Human pain thresholds were not only high, they were adaptable. One Terran soldier recorded his own death, revived via crude but effective field techniques, and continued his mission without delay. Their psychological assessment showed patterns of trauma-induced focus, battlefield bonding behaviors akin to predator packs, and an unnerving willingness to sacrifice. Historical records showed an evolution timeline inconsistent with known models. Humanity didn't evolve slowly and uniformly. Their developmental path was broken, chaotic. Epics of peace were rare, often interrupted by world wars, plagues, and mass extinctions. But after each collapse, they rose stronger, faster, more lethal. Anomalies surfaced. Genetic reviews identified sequences in the human genome that lacked evolutionary precursors, segments with near-perfect error correction, subdermal matrices that seemed to prepare the body for impact trauma. The leading xenogeneticists labeled it a coincidence, but privately admitted to the archivist that human DNA looked less like a tree and more like a modular construct. The Battle of Lorvax, 9 was the tipping point. A Zartan strike fleet, 15 warships strong, engaged a minor human mining facility. The humans had no orbital defenses, no warships, just mining drones and planetary vehicles. By protocol, the strike should have taken 7 hours. It lasted 36. Every corridor was a kill zone, every mining shaft a booby trap. The humans didn't flee. They sealed themselves in and fought with pressurized gas canisters, sharpened drill bits, and concentrated acid. When the Zartan forces finally withdrew, only 5 ships remained functional. Surveillance footage recovered from a disabled dropship showed a human covered in blood, smiling, detonating an entire tunnel complex while laughing. That soldier's name was retrieved. Earth records identified him as a former construction engineer. No military background. His last psychological profile read, mildly bored, seeking challenge. The archivist compiled thousands of data points. Interviews with alien diplomats frequently included a recurring observation. Humans were friendly, yes, but something lurked beneath their eyes. Attention, as if they were waiting for something. One Shalarian ambassador described it as coil fury with a smile. Old Earth texts were translated. Mythologies abounded with cataclysms. The humans never envisioned peace as a permanent state. Even their utopias included war simulations. Children played with weapons as toys. Media celebrated apocalyptic scenarios. War was not a horror, it was a genre. Then came the reports from the Alexei front. A border skirmish escalated when humans refused to retreat from contested space. The Alexei, known for overwhelming telepathic dominance, were repelled. Human minds were not only resistant, they reflected the intrusion, overwhelming the Alexei with uncontrolled emotion, fear, rage, sadness. The Alexei called them the unquiet minds and requested immediate armistice. The archivist began to trace human artifacts. Deep within Saturn's orbit, on a moon once dismissed as barren, a probe detected anomalous readings. What they uncovered was not human technology, but it contained human remains, perfectly preserved, a skeleton identical to Homo sapiens. Radiometric dating placed it at over 1 million years old. Earth denied knowledge. Their own scientists were shaken. The bones were not from any known era. Worse, they were found sealed inside an alloyed capsule with markings in a non-human language. Analysis revealed those markings were not etched. They were grown. Council debates intensified. If humans didn't evolve naturally, who created them? And why? The archivists traced more reports. A mining world named Draxus. 12 had a planetary quake. During the excavation, they uncovered walls, structures, that pulsed with residual energy. Within them, symbols were etched into obsidian-like panels. Every panel contained humanoid figures, all fighting beasts, machines, and each other. The central figure was always the same. A human, alone, unbowed, surrounded by destruction. A linguist in the Thorian archives deciphered a portion of the inscriptions. One sentence became a mantra. In their blood is memory. In their rage, design. Other species had passion, but not like humans. Human anger was creative. Destructive, yes, but also strategic. It didn't dissipate, it focused. One human general, when cornered, ordered his fleet into a black hole's event horizon to slingshot around and blindside the enemy. It worked. The fleet suffered major losses, but the enemy was annihilated. Who risks oblivion as a tactic? The archivist published a restricted report to the High Council. Its conclusion: humanity displays too many convergences to be random. Their biology, history, psychology, and technological adaptations point toward guided development. Deliberate chaos refined into purpose. He called them a seeded species. The council reacted with alarm. One faction demanded immediate quarantine. Another proposed integration acceleration. But the archivist knew neither would suffice. You do not cage a weapon that doesn't know it's a weapon. You observe. You pray. And then the unthinkable happened. A Terran expedition to an uncharted system encountered a structure drifting in dark space. It was colossal, kilometers long, made of material that resisted every scan. Inside, they found corridors, preserved data cores, and one final room. At its center, a humanoid figure, metallic, dormant, and human, identical in form, but machine in nature. Its chest bore the same sigil found on the Saturn artifact. It activated, not with violence, but with words. Phase 1 complete. Awaiting next sequence. Earth Command quarantined the site. No information leaked, but the archivist saw the transmission. His hands shook, because the next sequence file had one word in every known language. Awaken. And humanity had just begun to remember. The awakening of the construct sent shockwaves through every intelligence agency in the Accord. Quiet probes were dispatched from over 30 species, each desperate to uncover the truth hidden in Terran blood. But Earth remained silent. Their official response was vague, dismissive. They called it fabrication, a sensor anomaly. But beneath the surface, humanity was changing. Military budgets soared. Civilian recruitment surged. Colonies began fortifying, even on stable worlds. The Terran Diplomatic Corps increased its presence at border regions, offering aid, but always accompanied by elite protection units. These soldiers, it was noted, no longer used conventional weapons. They wielded modular systems capable of altering output modes mid-combat. One diplomat described it as fighting a hydra made of gunmetal and rage. Among the humans, something else began: dreams, veterans, engineers. Even children reported vivid visions. They spoke of structures buried deep beneath alien soil, of machines with eyes, of voices calling them by name. Some responded with obsession, others with terror. A pattern emerged. These dreams were not random. They came in waves, always near points of archaeological interest. On a gas giant moon in the Draxus sector, a human science vessel unearthed a crystalline structure. Inside, they found murals, not painted, but molecularly etched. The images depicted war. Not galactic war, but something older. A spiral conflict spanning eons. With one constant: the human shape, wielding light forged into blades, standing against monstrosities that defied physics. The lead scientist took his own life within the hour. His final words, scrawled in blood across the lab wall, read, "They made us to fight the dark." Classified reports hinted at Earth discovering similar sites across 6 star systems. Each one offered the same unsettling truth. Humanity predated itself. Their mythologies, once considered symbolic, were being revealed as echoes, distorted memories encoded in subconscious genetic markers. The Accord grew uneasy. The human expansion pattern now resembled a reactivation sequence. World by world, they followed ancient pathways, reopening long-dead systems, restoring power to stations dormant for millions of years. No species, not even the architect of Aurelia, had records of these sites. Then came the Jalnari incident. A fleet of scavenger vessels encountered a Terran mining operation near a derelict asteroid belt. They attempted standard extortion. The humans did not respond with force. They transmitted a single phrase: "You have approached a restricted progenitor relic. Withdraw." The scavengers ignored it. What followed was not battle. It was erasure. The Terran ships did not fire weapons. They activated fields that bent light, heat, and mass. Every scavenger vessel imploded. Their debris folded into tight spheres of dense alloy. No energy trace. No survivors. Only silence. Whispers of the event spread, not among civilians, but among the old species, those who remembered the last dark age. The Korath elder priests sent emissaries to Earth bearing offerings. The Urxel, who prided themselves on their war records, issued a rare ceasefire declaration, acknowledging humanity as a primordial variable. Still, Earth remained quiet. Publicly, they projected peace. But within the Terran Assembly, preparations were reaching a fever pitch. A select few were given access to Vault Theta, an underground archive not even Earth's allies knew existed. Inside were the recovered data cores from the construct, files decrypted not by code, but by proximity to human neural patterns. The data was horrifying. The creators of humanity were not benevolent. They were desperate, locked in an unwinnable war against entities that devour reality itself. They sought an answer, not a weapon, a species, one that could adapt faster than machines, hate harder than logic allowed, and survive anything long enough to learn how to kill it. They called it Project Raziel. Earth was not Earth. It was a nursery. The cataclysms, the environmental chaos, the socio-political entropy, all design stimuli. Humanity's entire history had been a crucible. The creators believed that if their constructs could survive Earth, they could survive anything. And they had. One file showed a simulation. A pre-human construct facing an Eldrelith, a creature of pure entropy. The construct died, then rose, then died again. It kept rising, each time modifying its form, incorporating entropy fields into its own system. Eventually, it tore the Eldrelith apart with hands that bent reality into jagged blades. This was humanity's inheritance, but the creators had vanished. Their last log was a transmission. Project Raziel successful. Initiate containment shut down. The galaxy had never known what had been built beneath its floorboards. But humanity was beginning to remember. On an artificial world orbiting a dead sun, Terra Marines fought something that had slumbered since the last galactic cycle. It moved without form, its presence rewriting causality. But the Marines adapted, their armor reconfigured to counter flux fields. Their weapons became waveform anchors. They didn't retreat. They recorded every moment, even as they died. And when reinforcement arrived, they found the creature dead, its body calcified into obsidian glass, marked by a human handprint. The footage became legend. Within the council, panic brewed. Debates turned to desperation. One faction proposed surgical extinction. Another suggested assimilation via cultural dilution. Neither approach gained traction. The simulations all ended the same way. The humans win or the galaxy burns trying. Xenopsychologists presented new theories. Humanity's trauma bonding was not a flaw. It was a directive. Shared suffering created strategic cohesion. Loss became purpose. Every defeat encoded victory protocols. They didn't fear extinction because it was written into their design to rise from it. Some proposed approaching Earth with reverence, not as overlords, but as forgotten stewards. They sent emissaries bearing truths, ancient codes recovered from long-lost worlds. Earth accepted them, quietly, without promise. Then the outer void shifted. A sensor net detected a mass anomaly beyond map space. A rift, the same kind described in the Raziel files. Nothing came through, but every Terran fleet, regardless of location, rerouted. Civilian vessels were recalled. Border colonies were evacuated. The Accord begged for answers. Earth sent a single message to the Council. We were made for this. Stand behind us, or be in our way. No declaration of war. No alliance proposal. Just inevitability. Across Terran space, children stopped having the dreams. Adults began training in ancient disciplines no one remembered teaching. Geneticists discovered new sequences activating. Skills, instincts, reflexes that had no logical origin. The species was activating. In the ancient tomb worlds, buried AI cores blinked awake. Their first transmission was not in code, but in reverence. Raziel Sigma confirmed. The final file in Vault Theta decrypted itself, not with time or tools, but with proximity. A single Terran scientist, unremarkable in every way, approached the core. It opened. Inside, a holographic interface displayed a star map. Systems lit up. A path. It ended beyond the galactic edge. The message burned itself into every screen in the room. Sequence 2 begins now.